Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my AM reading for Friday, October 23rd, 2020, on a Saturday. I'm liking these Saturdays, what can I say? Just still getting into the rhythm, I think, of going to work, and so, in the nighttime when I come back on Thursday or Friday, I'm just like, meh. So, anyway, I did finish a book this week. Huzzah! It's The Poet King by Ilana Myer, which I've held up a few times. It's the finale, I think, of her harp and ring sequence. Technically, there's a bit of an epilogue that sort of hints that, maybe new stuff, interesting stuff could happen in the world in the future, but from what I understand, this was the end of her loose trilogy, which I still... Sorry, Ilana, but I definitely think you should just say it's a trilogy. And it's a lot simpler to sort of read this if you have the other two books fresh in your mind. And so I really do want to do a full rereading of the full series. Other than that, I don't think I have much more to say than I haven't said before, but it's a book in an epic fantasy world. There's magic that's based off of musicianship and troubadours, and there's been upheaval, especially in the land of Avar, which has set the stage really for supernatural forces that had been kept at bay to kind of come out again. But really, I think this is a very character-driven novel. We follow a lot of characters around and see their particular roles in the court politics or in the magical fight. And the writing style is beautiful and lyrical. I've read a review that talked about how each chapter was kind of like a enclosed song, a lyricism song in and of itself. Now I'm just hodgepodging words, I guess. So it's a really interesting experience. I feel like just the reading of itself, of the text on the page, is like reading fantasy. I mean, it's probably not, the best fantasy book in the world. I think we already have enough controversy about best fantasy books from a recent article about that. But I think that there's something about just even the writing style that says this is epic fantasy. And there was just a lot of interesting characters and interesting ideas about love and power and relationships. And so I really enjoyed it overall. I'm also continuing to make my way audibly through The Power by Naomi Alderman, a very different sort of fantasy novel, kind of urban fantasy, what-if novel about what if the women of the world got this, humongous electrostatic power that they can shoot lightning, and how that would turn the tables worldwide when women, as a group, become much more powerful. And we're following various characters along in this one in a less, I guess, connected plot, although actually the threads are starting to come together now through all of these characters and what they're doing. They're starting to intersect a little more. I like this novel a lot. I wasn't sure I would. I know it hasn't gotten the best reviews, and I mean, I think, in terms of a what if, what if women could get this power, it's, it's still ridiculous, but I still like the characters that we're following. Again, it's the characters I really like. I think that, even though there's a lot of external plot going on, we still get a sense of who they are as people. Particularly, perhaps the only man who we're following, as a first-person character, Tunde, who is a man from Nigeria who decides when this starts happening and these women start getting this power that he's going to go across the world and cover it, because one of the first things that happens is in oppressive patriarchal regimes, women are starting to sort of rise up against things. So he goes to cover that sort of action as a budding journalist. And you can kind of feel it within him that he has this personal need or desire, hunger, a lot of the characters call it to him, basically to be in the action and to have a place and a role to play, which I think a lot of us who know journalists or politicians might, they might feel that, personal need to be part of that action. And I felt like that's a very personal thing. It's not just, being moved along by the plot. Or there is a politician who we do follow, and she's very motivated by personal relationships to her daughters who are struggling with this power, to a governor who has always been sort of belittling her a little bit, and now suddenly she, has more standing because she, the political landscape is changing a bit. And then there's some religious storylines that kind of remind me of The Leftovers by Tom Perrotta, although I never read the book. I watched the TV series, and it kind of reminds me of that because it's like crazy off-the-wall stuff. It's questionable in a way, like what's really going on here? Is there really some otherworldly influence going on, or are we just making any sort of sense out of the madness? And you don't really know that for sure, but religious overtones do come into the story a bit. So I'm liking it. I think the writing is really approachable. I like the audio narrator for the most part. Her American accents are a little bit iffy, so I don't know if maybe other countries would have a problem with it. She's, I believe, British. But anyway, I'm only a little over halfway through it, though. I'm hoping to keep making progress with that one. Next, I've started a new physical book. This is SIRACUSA by Delia Ephron, which I held up earlier this week as part of my page 112 tag. The page 112 tag was started by Sean the Book Maniac, based off of a French literary prize where they craft a long list of books based solely on the writing of page 112, and I've been using the tag throughout the year to try to weed my to-be-read shelf a bit, and I pick 3 books at random and then read page 112 and then add my favorite or whatever to my reading list for the month. So I'll link to the video down below, which led to me picking up this book. This is kind of a rich people, self-involved family drama story where these 2 couples and one of their kids go to Siracusa, to Italy together for a joint vacation. And there's a lot of baggage in between them, largely because they are all in different ways, I suppose, or slightly different ways, kind of insufferable people. I don't think everybody would really like this novel a lot because Ephron gives, like, POV little vignettes to everyone day by day, or, a couple a day, and you just see how annoying and entitled and whiny or whatever all of these people are. And I mean, the one that you can only feel bad for in a way is the weird 11-year-old daughter Snow, who's like antsy and neurotic and whispery, and you think, I mean, she's growing up with all these assholes, so, the fact that she's, at all in the world is a good thing, I suppose. So anyway, I don't think most people would really, or a lot of people perhaps would, be on board with this story, which I think Robert at Barter Hordes would say this is, rich, entitled people bringing problems onto themselves. But I like it. I occasionally like some drama, something that's perhaps not as embedded with huge, larger political and socioeconomic themes that you have to dig your teeth into and realize that the real drama of the story is a bunch of nut jobs, just being self-involved. Also, there's writers in here, so it's a bunch of self-involved nut jobs. So I'm enjoying it. I hope to really be finishing it perhaps today. Because next on the docket, or at least somewhere on the docket in the future, I'm going to go with The Other Americans by Laila Lalami, bringing us right back into bigger, more important socioeconomic and political themes. The reason I'm thinking of picking this up now is because, well, a little over a year ago, I was at the National Book Festival, back when, events happened in person, and this was the book I got and got signed by the author, and I just have a habit of trying to read at least some of the books that I get signed by authors within the year or so of acquiring them, so I figured it was time to put this one on the list. I think this was also on the long list for the BookTube prize, although it didn't make it very far, maybe not even out of the octafinal list, but I'm still curious to give it a go. So that about covers it for me now. We are now relatively well into the weekend stealth, and this is my first weekend in a little while where I don't have anyone coming over and I'm not going anywhere, and I'm also back to work, so I only have finite time available to me. I'm trying to build myself up here because basically my reading schedule for October has been bad. I've made it through 1 book this month, which is kind of crazy and not at all how I would have envisioned it with my plan of trying to read around 8 books a month. So I figure I have a couple days now, and I'm just gonna go hole up with me, myself, and I, and a couple of the books and see what I can bang out here, and hopefully, raise that tally a little bit. We'll see. Slightly future Rachel here, just to insert that I hope I will be back later sometime this week to do an author's answer video. Also, I can't believe how close we're getting to NaNoWriMo now, but that's angst for another day. But in the meantime, I hope you all are doing very well, and thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.